going to talk about the characterisation of methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus or MRSA strains in comparison between Saudi Arabia and Europe.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Abdul. Today I'm going to talk about the characterization of MRSA strains, make comparison between Saudi Arabia and Europe. Okay, let's start. First of all, let's talk about the MRSA infection, and it was caused by a strain of staph bacteria that is resistant to antibiotics commonly used to treat ordinary staph infections. And most MRSA happen in hospitals. And we have two different types, the hospital-associated and community. And the hospital typically are associated with invasive procedures like surgeries and intravenous tubing. And the community the community-associated MRSA happen in a wider community and more also healthy people, and also especially in the people who live in crowded places. The signs and symptoms, as you can see, it starts with a small red bumps that resemble oils or a spider bite, and that turns quickly into deep and painful abscess that need surgery. And it causes also potentially life-threatening risk factor for the hospital associated, being hospitalized and having invasive medical devices, and residing in the long-term care facilities. And for the community, participating in a contact person because it's transmitted from person to person by contact, and men having sex with the men. And for the diagnosis of the MRSA, the bacteria must be cultured from blood or urine or in sputum and other like polyfluid samples. In the clinical laboratories, they usually use a quantitative PCR procedures, which employ for the quickly detecting and identifying MRSA strains. And there is another test that used another common laboratory test is a rapid latex agglutination that detects the PBP2 protein. Let's start with the introduction for the MRSA. It is antimicrobial resistant. Is genetically based. It is it is based in the and the definition of the MRSA is the ability to thrive in the presence of penicillin-like antibiotics. And it has the resistant gene, the MIC-A, which stops the beta-lactam antibiotics from inactivating the enzymes. And it includes the penicillin binding protein 2A, the PBP2A. And other tools by using the clinical laboratories, the staphylococcal cassette chromosome, which is a genomic island of an unknown origin containing the antibiotic-resistant gene MIC-A. It has like 6 different types and has a different microbiological characteristics that has a different type of infection. And MLSD, the multilocus, the sample of the technique is involving PCR amplification followed by DNA sequencing. And the BPL, or the Banton, is a cytotoxin, and it is associated with the community-associated MRSA, and associated with the increased virulence of strains of MRSA. The methodology, we use the articles were searched online by RMIT library, using the access for some of the databases, Web Science and Scopus and the published article were refined from 2009 to the present, and in English language was the official language for all the articles, and some of the key ones were used, the MRSA and methicillin-resistant Staph aureus in Saudi Arabia and in Europe. And here are the results for the 5 studies were investigated in Saudi Arabia, and also 5 from Europe. And as you can see here, there are the SCC MIG type. The predominant one was in Saudi Arabia, that was number 3, and also number 4. But the most predominant one for the type, SCC MIG type, was number 3, as you can see here, and also the number here. And the sequence type for the MRSA was the ST239, as you can see here, is in two studies, as you can see here and this one. And in Europe, the predominant one was number 4, SCC MIG type number 4. It's the most predominant one. And also there's a common type, there's a common sequence type between Saudi Arabia and Europe, the ST239. And we come now to the infection rates and the number of samples in Europe. There's a huge number of samples comparing to Saudi Arabia, like 900. Just in Portugal, there's just like 180. And in Saudi Arabia, between 100 to 200. And they use the PCR and multiplex PCR for the detection of MRSA. And here the incidence of MRSA in Europe, that's an old, building in old studies in 2008. And here the charts explaining the difference between the result found for the infection rate of Saudi Arabia in the left one. And as you can see here, in Saudi Arabia it's between 50, there's one 54, 52, and there's one 52 in 2012, and then in 2014 go to up to 55, and this one for the screening of just people who work in a health in a hospitals, or but in Europe there's just one here is it was between, as you can see here, between 5.5, just one in Spain 29 and 7.2. This is for the infection rate of MRSA, and in as you can see here for the infection rate is 54 and 55 in 2014. And the presence of BPL, which is, as I said before, the one associated with the immunity, and the cytotoxin for the MRSA, there's a huge prevalence of BPL, so the cytotoxin in Saudi Arabia compared to one in Europe. It can go back to it's a 54 here, and 37 and 19, And if you see here in Europe, just a 15 and 1, with from like 925 samples. In conclusion, the characterization is varied between Saudi Arabia and Europe. As you can see, there's just one common tie between Saudi Arabia and Europe, which was the sequence time number 239, number 3. And there is a high infection rate of MRSA in Saudi Arabia due to the labor use of antibiotics in the last decade or two. Also, the presence of BVL is surprisingly high in Saudi Arabia compared to the one in Europe. Yeah, that's the 1% of my presentation. And there's any question?
Are there any questions?
With those European studies,
Yeah.
were they Europe-wide or country-specific?
Say it again, sorry.
With the European studies,
Yeah.
with how many countries were involved in each of those studies, or were some of them country-specific?
No, there's I divided in three different categories between like Central Europe and South Europe, and there's 5 studies as you can see. There's 5 studies in Greece, Spain, Portugal, Luxembourg, and England
Okay, so
between 2009 to 2013. Yeah.
no, I was just surprised that you only had 5 studies in that time. I would have thought there'd be a lot more,
Yeah, that
considering the subject matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is like a wide in Europe. That's what we were talking about just to be tough. But I just take like a sample. you know.
Sample from each.
Yeah, to just so we can make a comparison and then.
Okay. Was it simply that the information wasn't available for the Mecca percentage? Because I noticed your Saudi Arabian one had
Yeah.
the
so,
percentages, but the European ones don't. Is that just
Um,
unique to it?
The one in Europe that I found, it was like going deep, talking about like specific things in MRSA, while in Saudi Arabia just like talking like in general about the percentage, about because there's the first study, you can see here, the first study was done in 2012, while in Europe I have to go back to 2009 to find like such information to make a comparison between Saudi Arabia and Europe.
Okay.
And you noticed, or you mentioned about that PVL difference between Saudi and Europe. Well, what's the actual significance again of PVL, and what do you think could be the actual reason between the difference between Saudi and some of the European studies?
The BFL is a cytotoxin that found in like a community. In the community, there's 2 types of MRSA. So the one that found in the community, which means that the MRSA is spread widely in the community, not just in the hospitals, which is alarming to the Saudi country. That's the number is very high.
So it's more a marker for a community-based MRSA
Yeah.
than a hospital-based.
Yeah, because it starts like with the hospital, like in the past, and then it goes to the community in the they discovered in 1981 the first strain in the community, and it is more virulent, the one in the community, and it's more virulent than the one in the hospital. So that's alarming number 2. But the good thing that the infection control in the last 5 years in Saudi Arabia, they regulate the use of antibiotics in Saudi Arabia. That's not anyone that can use it, which is a good thing. That like to start late, but then
Any more questions? Okay, so we'll move straight on to the next one.